It's a night of clapbacks, answers and political rhetoric as the leaders engage in accusations and counter-accusations on who should take credit for any development under the Jubilee government. Also, we still have the second episode of the President's Form Land, a 5-point series that runs till Friday, one that you cannot miss to have a glimpse. Good evening to you, my esteemed viewer, and thank you so much for joining us. You're watching Maisha Prime News with the latest headlines from across the country and beyond. Remember, at the end of the bulletin, I will be hosting you on a 5/5 segment 2. Welcome to the bold and incisive bulletin Maisha Prime News that airs Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. and on weekends, that is Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. My name is Rida Kering Chebet. And let's start off with some politics. Deputy President William Ruto has once again defended his track record, saying he prides himself in the success of the Jubilee administration. Speaking at Likuyani in Kakamega County, where he is leading the Kenya Kwanza Brigade in a series of rallies, Ruto said he had made a significant contribution to the realization of the major infrastructural projects undertaken by the Jubilee administration, contrary to claims by his critics. Bushebi Jr. has more on that story.
Deputy President William Ruto has vowed to fight on, saying no amount of intimidation will slow him down in the quest to win the August presidential election.
Mimi nikisimama hapa, mimi ni naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Na serikali ya Jubilee, Uhuru Kenyatta rafiki yangu na mimi ndio tuliunda serikali ya Jubilee. And I want to tell our friends, the Jubilee government was a joint project between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto.
In an apparent reference to remarks made by his boss President Uhuru Kenyatta in Mombasa on Monday, Ruto said there was an attempt by a few individuals to impose new leadership on Kenyans.
Mnakubaliana na wale wa kitendawili na wale project ya kitendawili ambao wanatuambia ati wanataka kubadilisha katiba? Ama mnakubaliana na Weta na Musalia na Hasla tubadilishe uchumi kwanza? Tubadilishe katiba ama uchumi? Tubadilishe uchumi kwanza.
Ruto has been on an overdrive since Monday when his boss President Uhuru Kenyatta dismissed him while in Mombasa, saying he abandoned the government and started campaigning too early.
Jamani, saa ingine muache kujipiga. Tumesonga. Na story ya watu huko kupepeta huko kwa mikutano kuongea mauongo huko haiwezi badilisha yale yamefanyika.
DP Ruto has been campaigning to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, whom he again accuses of plotting to have ODM leader Raila Odinga succeed him. On Monday, Kenyatta declared that he is now ready to roll in campaigns for his preferred successor, effectively putting Ruto on notice.
Tunaelewana wenzangu? Let us remain focused. If there are things that are not right, that's why you're here. To help us, tell us, here we can do better, here we can do better, here we can do better. Lakini mambo ya kuongea maneno matuputupu huko, hakuna kitu unafanya. Unaenda huko, kazi haifanywi juu ya gari, inafanywa kwa maofisi, kwa mahospitali.
But a bullish Ruto is not taking it lying down.
You cannot deny me as deputy president the credit we have achieved in the many things we have achieved as a government. It is not going to happen, my friends.
Bring it on, my friend, he declared, and told him off on accusations that he has been moving around the country implementing government projects from the sunroof of his car.
Kazi haifanywi juu ya gari. Unajua mimi leo nimefanya, anaingia ICU, anaingia ward, anaingia theater.
And while Kenyatta credits himself of delivering on the Jubilee Manifesto, Ruto insists he is part of the successes.
Kama ni mpango ya mabarabara, mimi niliketi kwa meza tukipanga mambo ya mabarabara. Kama ni mpango ya stima, mimi niliketi chini tukapanga mambo ya stima. Kama ni mambo ya TTI, mimi niliketi chini tukapanga mambo ya TTI. Kama ni mambo ya elimu, tulipanga chini tukapanga hiyo mambo pamoja. Sasa yale mambo yamefaulu, hauwezi kuniondoa katika mambo yaliyofaulu. Kama singekuweko, serikali ya Jubilee haingetengenezwa.
Ruto, who severed links with his boss due to his political ambitions to succeed him, stressed that he will not be cowed into succumbing to threats and intimidations from his critics who continue to undermine his role.
Let us face the truth. Sijui kama tunaelewana. So anybody imagining that they can deny me the credit for the things we did that succeeded in Jubilee are wasting their time. I made an equal contribution to the success of the Jubilee administration. And I know too well, I have been in politics long enough, that you plan theory in offices, but you execute practicals in the field, sometimes on top of cars. So, hakuna haja ya kusumbuana.
He noted that he is ready to face his competitors at the August polls, where he exuded confidence that the Kenya Kwanza Alliance team will emerge victorious with a landslide win.
The only team that can build on the success of the last 10 years and correct the wrongs of the last 10 years, the only team with that experience is the Kenya Kwanza team.
President Kenyatta on Monday, while launching the Universal Health Coverage Plan, accused Ruto of being absent in his government agenda, opting to work from on top of vehicles while moving around the country.
Kazi haifanywi juu ya gari. Unajua mimi leo nimefanya, anaingia ICU, anaingia ward, anaingia theater.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Maisha Bijoni.
And Wiper Party National Executive Council has mandated its leader Kalonzo Musyoka to form coalition with like-minded partners. The highest decision-making organ of the party was, however, categorical that governing such alliance will be formed within the One Kenya Alliance. The meeting comes after the party signed an agreement to work with KANU and NARC Kenya under the One Kenya Alliance. The meeting also comes amid reports that the One Kenya Alliance is keen to join forces with the Azimio la Umoja movement.
Hata wengine ambao hapa awali walikuwa hataki mambo haya, sasa wao wenyewe ndio wamekuwa mstari wa mbele kuchukua hata wenzetu wengine waliokuwa nasi, na hiyo ni kawaida, na tuwatakia kila laheri. Lakini kwa upande wetu tuko tayari kufanya mazungumzo na wale ambao tunajua, and have had occasion to speak about this before, wale ambao tunajua menendo yao, uwazi wao, mafikra yao, filosofia yao, ideolojia yao inafanana na sisi wana Wiper Democratic Movement. Na tunajua tuna wakati mazungumzo na consultations zitaendelea na wale ambao wako tayari kuzungumza, lakini hatutukubali maneno, yani wengine mnakuja kwa meza wanazungumza na wewe na waficha mengine hapo. You cannot negotiate with a weapon in your arms or in your pocket. So this is what it is. Sincere, open, transparent negotiations in good faith. And as many of you will recognize, that is what I've been doing for a better part of my life so far, helping other people negotiate. And I think you negotiate without any pressure, without any ill will, only guided by that which is in the best national interest.
Now, ever wondered who is the most protected human being on earth? Well, you might just get the answer today. With the most expensive and complex motorcade, the US president tops the list of them all. All Arsenal has one-on-one mission to keep the president alive. Take a look.
This is the most expensive and complicated motorcade in the world. With around 50 vehicles and over 100 personnel, the United States presidential motorcade has a single objective: keep the president alive. At the heart of the motorcade is the car that carries the president himself, known as the Beast. But it's less of a limo and more of a comfy tank. The presidential car, also known as Cadillac One, is designed to withstand any and all attacks. The Beast costs around $1.5 million and weighs in at a whopping 20,000 pounds, which is about the same weight as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Every Secret Service agent has to pass a 5-day protective driving course, and those who end up behind the wheel of the president's limo undertake even more advanced training. The doors are 8-inch thick, the windows will stop a bullet from a Magnum, and the floor is built on a modified truck bed with armor floor plates to protect from bombs and grenades. It's even hermetically sealed to prevent biological attacks with its own oxygen supply. On board, you'll find rocket-powered grenades, night vision optics, a tear gas cannon, pump-action shotguns, and even 2 litres of the president's blood type. But as we all know, it's not just one car that keeps the president moving. There's a whole fleet of vehicles that play their role when the president's in transit. In fact, the Beast containing the president isn't even the only beast involved. There are at least 2 identical armoured limos in every motorcade, both with matching registration plates. This means that potential attackers have no clue which one contains the actual sitting president. And these 2 limos make up just one part of the motorcade known as the secure package. The vehicles in the secure package are designed to break away from the motorcade should an attack take place. Also in the secure package is the United States Secret Service Countermeasures Suburban. This car jams any remote explosives that might be en route using 2 antennas that send out a huge range of radio frequencies that block any bomb activation signal. It also has electronic warfare sensors that detects if an RPG or anti-tank missile is launched. It's believed that if it did detect a rocket, the car would release smoke canisters across the secure package to throw off grenades and/or missiles. However, that's just speculation because it's obviously classified. After that comes 3 separate SUVs with one distinct difference. 2 of them have their rear window open and 1 doesn't. These 2 SUVs are called the Halfback and the Cat Car. If the president's in danger, it's the job of the Halfback to defend the Beast and the job of the Cat Car to take the fight to the insurgents. The reason their rear window is open? Well, that's so the rear-facing passengers can open fire at a moment's notice. The car with the closed rear window is the control car. The control car carries the most essential staff, such as the president's military aide and doctor. In front of the secure package, you'll find the route car, pilot car, lead car, and a whole host of motorbikes known as sweepers. The route and pilot car scout the route ahead and relay information to the lead car, which leads the secure package to the motorcades behind them. The motorbikes are in charge of clearing the way for the motorcade by ushering cars out of the way and by blocking off roads and junctions. This role may seem simple, but should the convoy need to be diverted for whatever reason, the route and pilot cars must be able to react and communicate that quickly. One example of this was back in 1996. Then President Bill Clinton was visiting the Philippines and was scheduled to meet with a local politician in Manila. During the journey, intelligence officers picked up a message containing the words bridge and marriage. While this may seem like no big deal to you or me, this sent alarm bells going off throughout the motorcade. This is because marriage was known to be a code word for assassination. The motorcade diverted away from an upcoming bridge thanks to the quick thinking of all involved. Soon after, it was discovered that a bomb had been planted under that bridge. The plot reportedly organised by Osama bin Laden. Behind the secure package is a fleet of support vehicles including the ID car, which liaises with other counter-surveillance agencies, the Roadrunner, which acts as a mobile communications centre, and the Hazardous Materials Mitigation Unit, which contains equipment and personnel that can respond to chemical, nuclear and biological attacks, as well as vehicles containing more Secret Service agents, politicians, emergency personnel and members of the press. Now, all of this may seem like a lot and that nothing could ever go wrong, but the Secret Service actually view it as the exact opposite. To them, the safest motorcade is no motorcade. Travelling by car is seen as one of the moments when the president is at their most vulnerable, so the motorcade will only be used for journeys of 30 minutes or less. For everything else, there's Marine One and Air Force One. It's estimated that this one trip, which takes around an hour, costs over $150,000. So in short, it's an expensive business protecting the most powerful person in the world. But many would argue it's a small price to pay.
Wow, my pastor told me the best protection is from God too. Well, let's get back home. And President Uhuru Kenyatta and Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho on Tuesday officially commissioned a multi-million cancer treatment center at the Coast General and Referral Hospital CGTRH. The new facility now becomes the second cancer center in Kenya after the one at Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital in Nairobi. It has been fitted with state-of-the-art radiotherapy machines and can treat up to 120 patients per week when it becomes fully operational. Last Friday, the health CS Mutahi Kagwe inspected the facility ahead of Tuesday's President Uhuru's visit. The new facility, which was built in partnership between the national government and the county government, will offer both radiotherapy and chemotherapy. The national government provided infrastructure while the county government gave out land and human resources. Last year, CGTRH attended to 6,296 cases of cancer, according to the data from the hospital administration. Of the over 6,000 cases, 629 were newly diagnosed, whereas 1,690 patients were undergoing chemotherapy and about 300 radiotherapy sessions. On Monday, the president launched the national scale-up of the universal health coverage at the Ports Raid Sub-County Hospital in Mombasa. Speaking during the function, which was attended by several cabinet secretaries, governors and MPs, President Uhuru affirmed that the government's commitment to spreading the benefits of UHC across the country.
Ya kutibu cancer through radiotherapy. Matibabu ambaye inafanywa na itafanywa katika hii center ambaye tumefungua leo is life-saving treatment ambao hakuna pahali ingine. Labda ufike Nairobi, kuna mashini moja mbili, na hizo ni za kibinafsi, ni private. Kuna ile ya Kenyatta University, hiyo ni moja ambaye tumefungua hivi majuzi. Lakini hakuna pahali ingine. Labda upelekwe India. Na kuenda India, huwezi kuenda India kama huna shilingi milioni 2 kwenda juu. Na tumeweka vifaa vya kisasa kwa sababu ya cooperation yetu, national government and county government, kuwezesha wananchi waweze kupata matibabu. Na bado kuna wengine wanasema ati hatustahili kufanya kazi pamoja. Tuendelee na malumbano ambaye haisaidii mtu. Inchi sio ya mtu binafsi. Inchi ni vitendo ambavyo vinabadilisha maisha ya wananchi. Na ndipo tukisema ya kwamba we are interested in continuity. We are interested in continuity of programs like this. And we want to work with people who have that interest. Yeah? And you cannot do that without working together with others. You cannot do that if you do not have peace and harmony amongst.
And still in Mombasa, the county government of Mombasa has suspended the new traffic system that have been in place for the last 1 week. Addressing the media at the Mombasa County Inspectorate headquarters in Chuda on Tuesday morning, the county executive for transport Tariq Balala announced that the two-way traffic system will resume immediately effective midnight. This follows a public outcry from the residents, matatu operators, other stakeholders and the political class who are all calling for a review of the new traffic system. The exercise that started on February 2nd on a trial basis was eventually intended to become permanent once the teething problems and challenges of the system were identified. Balala said that said that the declared changes were intended to secure the best traffic system for the interest of Mombasa residents to serve both the present and future generations. According to the new traffic rules that were put in place last week, most of the major roads had been turned into one-way with an aim to ease traffic and reduce travel times for motorists, a move that brought chaos and new traffic snarl-up in the town centre. Trucks had also been barred from using the CBD except from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Interviewed Mombasa residents welcome the change of mind from the county, urging Balala to engage all stakeholders next time he wants to implement changes affecting the public transport sector.
This traffic plan was meant to serve the different interests of all residents of Mombasa County. However, as long as a sizable number of the population in the affected areas feel aggrieved, we cannot ignore their plight, but must pay heed to the cries of the people we serve and to whom these changes were in. For avoidance of doubt, by Wednesday, tomorrow, the 9th February 2022 at 12 a.m., the traffic flow of motorized vehicles will revert to the position prevailing before the 2nd of February 2022, so as to restore the two-lane opposing system used previously around the island. I have asked the legal department of Mombasa County Government to prepare the appropriate gazette notice for my signature for implementation of this directive, and our officers on the ground will have the same communicated to them for necessary action. I take this opportunity to thank all the extremely hard-working and dedicated county officers on the ground for their efforts during the trial period. I also want to thank the residents of Mombasa, whom we serve, for their patience and their perseverance. As a county government department, we will continue to serve you in the best way we can and to have greater consultations with you to achieve the best possible outcomes to the challenges of traffic affecting this county.
And following a directive from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, civil servants seeking political positions have 24 hours to vacate their positions. All civil servants seeking political positions must resign by February 9th, 6 months before the upcoming general election on August 9th, according to the IEBC. A number of cabinet secretaries, chief administrative secretaries, and public servants are expected to resign from their positions and enter the political arena. On Tuesday, the devolution cabinet secretary Charles Keter resigned from government to join the Kericho gubernatorial race in the August 9th election. Keter, who became the first cabinet member to quit, said that he is better placed to serve, citing his vast experience in government. Petroleum Cabinet Secretary John Munyes has also resigned from the position to contest for political seat in the upcoming August general election. Munyes, who is seeking to be the next governor of Turkana County, announced his resignation on Tuesday ahead of the Wednesday, February 9th deadline for civil servants eyeing political seats to step aside from the public office. He becomes the second cabinet secretary to step aside after devolution cabinet secretary Charles Keter, who stepped aside. Other government officials who have resigned include Transport CAS Vinyandeti and State House Chief of Staff Nzioka Waita, both of whom are seeking the Machakos governor seat.
In line with the constitutional provisions in section 43(5) of the Elections Act, holders of the public office who wish to contest for any elective post are required to resign from office at least 6 months before the date of election. I have today tendered my resignation to His Excellency the President, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces. I'm also complying with a circular which was issued by the head of public service last week, dated January 28, 2022, requiring all state and public officers who are not exempted by the provisions of the Election Act 2011 from resigning from their offices to vacate their offices on or before today, Tuesday, 8th of February 2022. I wish to sincerely thank His Excellency the President for according me an opportunity to serve in his cabinet since 2015.
And former Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero has been ordered to pay tax amounting to 427,269,795. This follows a ruling delivered by Justice David Majanja of the High Court on Tuesday. The ruling in favor of KRA follows an audit conducted by the Commission of Domestic Taxes on his financial and business affairs, despite the former governor and the commissioner reaching a consensus that funds raised for political party campaigns are not chargeable to tax. Both parties failed to agree on whether Dr. Kidero, who was then vying for Nairobi gubernatorial seat, had demonstrated the funds so raised had actually been expended in political campaigns. Audits carried out by the commissioner established that the proceeds from fundraisers by the former governor were being deposited together with other business proceeds into his personal bank accounts. The tribunal returned a verdict in favor of Dr. Kidero, holding that he had shown the source of the funds and that it was up to the commissioner to establish if the funds had been utilized for the campaigns, thus shifting the burden of proof to the commissioner. The commissioner, aggrieved by the judgment of the tribunal, moved to the High Court on appeal, challenging the holding by the tribunal. Justice Majanja also faulted the tribunal's judgment and held that the burden of proof was on Dr. Kidero to demonstrate that the funds raised for the campaigners were actually utilized for the purpose. These will not constitute taxable income. On the other hand, if the money was retained or diverted to his own personal use, it will be taxable income to him and liable to income tax. Having failed to discharge his burden, the court held in favor of the commissioner and allowed KRA to proceed and recover the sum of 427,269,795 shillings.
She said report dated. That report is we went ahead and did a report dated 9th March. In fact, initially it was 2014. Now it's not 2017. You see where I'm going? I see. And that's why you now insist. Because I don't want to sit here to be reporting anything that is not there. I agree. And that's why you now is insisting that she has to give evidence to whom she handed these documents to. So that then the report. About the documents. They are not communicated. Yes.
All right, let's just take a quick break, and immediately after the break, we'll be having our special political feature, Presidents from Lowland by Bushebe Jr. Starting this Monday,
we'll have another go at another election. Wafula Kujana is no longer chairman of Ford Kenya.
Exclusive to Maisha TV, we bring you a 5-part series of Presidents from Lowland.
Wacha wao waporomoke, wacha wao waporomoke, viongozi wetu tuombe.
Kuwaletea hospitali ambayo ni ya kutibu wananchi, na kuna vinyangareka wa KPU wanathubutu kuja hapa na kusema maneno machafu.
Sisi tunatoka, chukua kazi yako na uende naye.
Brought to you by Bushebe Jr.
I take the journey on the history lane to explore the philosophy, ideology, leadership and the cost paid by great leaders of the Luo nation.
Don't miss Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on Maisha Prime News.
Bushangala Technical Training Institute, Center of Excellence. Prepare for the beast. Informative, authoritative, unbiased. Welcome to Maisha News. Navaholo Technical and Vocational College, Center of Excellence in Building and Civil Engineering.
Now, education is always the key to success. Education is the background. Education should be the foundation. As Maisha TV, we embrace, we honor, and we value education.
Education is a way of bringing information, knowledge to our people, and that is the basic importance that we can see education doing.
We are here as solid partners to the growth of academics and career building in the nation. It is all here on your fastest growing TV station, Maisha TV, where you choose it, watch it, and love it.
Was that you?
Johnny,
Yes, Papa.
eating sugar.
No, Papa.
Najivunia kuwa Mkenya. Na ninajali matukio yanayojiri nchini Kenya na ulimwengu mzima. Natazama runinga ya Maisha ili nipate habari kamili. Naichagua, naitazama na ninaipenda. Maisha TV ni bora. Unapotia bidii katika maisha, mwishowe unafanikiwa. Unapotazama runinga Maisha, unajifunza, unaelimika na unafurahia. Twakujuza kila mara, tutia fora kukupasha yaliyomo, yanayojiri na kujenga maisha mbeleni. Hii ni runinga ya Maisha.
You must learn to wake up in the night. Use your nights when people are asleep and there's no distraction. You wake up.
No man who has taken time to holistically give himself to the word of God has not proved it that it works. The word of God cannot fail.
All the sins were paid for on the cross. When Christ died on the cross, all our sins were paid, and we are now free. Our past, our present, and future sins have been forgiven.
That is why we lay hands on the lame and they walk. We lay hands on the blind and they see. We lay hands on the deaf and they hear. It's powerful enough to give you the answer on its first application.
Someone tells you in the office, over my dead body for you to rise. Don't fight him. Go back to your control room. Madish kalika baruskiata. Embreketes kadiba katasiata.
God will remain God in whatever circumstances we are finding ourselves in. And if we want to get out of the circumstances that make us uncomfortable, then the best and most important thing we need to do is to know how to praise God.
You are hearing a report in your job that is not pleasing. Carry your CV and drop it on the ground.
The Bible says he abides in the praises of his people. When you praise him, then he has to manifest who he is.
The stage is set. The time is now. Credible news. It is prime news. Only on Maisha TV. Prepare for the beast. Informative, authoritative, unbiased. Welcome to Maisha News.
Welcome back and much appreciation for keeping it here. And as I informed you earlier, let me usher in Bushebi Jr. with a special segment, The Presidents from Luoland.
I take the journey on the history lane to explore the philosophy, ideology, leadership and the cost paid by great leaders of the Luo nation. Here is the journey of Mzee Oginga Odinga and his son Raila Odinga. My name is Bushebi Jr.
The press must be a champion of the social, political, and economic development of the people.
Nimekuacha siku nyingi kwa sababu wewe ni rafiki yangu. Kama si hivyo, wewe najua mimi ningefanya nini? Hapana, kazi yako kuniambia nitume wapi. Mimi najua mwenyewe. Mimi najua mwenyewe. Labda wewe usemao naweza kutuma wewe ndani ya manyani kuliko rafiki yangu.
They told me they've been trying to see Mzee for a long time. They couldn't. So they asked me whether I could assist. And I flatly refused. And then they said something interesting. They said, now we come to you as a child. You have denied us. So maybe we just have to die. He told me, you know what they want to do. They want to bring Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And he has been getting money from communist countries to destabilize my government. There's money that was being paid to an account in Greatest Bank. And I had known who it was. The signatories were high-ranking people in the government. And when I saw the account, I recognized it. And I had the account in my wallet myself. And I told this account is not Mzee Jaramogi's account. This account is so and so and so. And he said, good Lord. And he said, okay, I'll meet them. And we were in Mombasa. And Mzee told me, you go and tell your Jalus, including Odinga, I'll see them on the 23rd of August now. I came up, and the 22nd night, that's when Mama Ngina called me. I said, Mzee had passed away.
He was detained for 18 months until the government made the decision to free him on 27th March in 1971. He consigned to political limbo until after Kenyatta's death in August 1978. Odinga attempted to register a political party in 1982, but when Attorney General Charles Njonjo amended the constitution which made Kenya a single-party state, his plans failed. Odinga remained vocal in his calling for democracy. In 1991, he founded the National Democratic Party, but the government refused to recognize it again and briefly jailed Oginga Odinga.
It should be a party of collective responsibility rather than a party of personalities.
After effective international protests, Oginga Odinga and 5 other opposition members formed the Forum for Restoration of Democracy, FORD. This was the core of the pro-democracy movement, changing Kenya's political landscape and opening up the political space in 1992. Kenyatta's successor Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi appointed Oginga Odinga as chairman of the Cotton Lint and Seed Marketing Board. He did not last long in the post, presumably because he was still outspoken against Kenyatta's policies. Following the failed coup of 1982 against Moi's government, the late Oginga Odinga was placed under house arrest in Kisumu. However, the formation of FORD triggered a chain of events that were to change Kenya's political landscape, culminating in ending KANU's 40 years in power, 8 years after Oginga Odinga's death.
Wimbo ninaimba sio wimbo ni maombi, nikiomba Mwenyezi Mungu aibariki Kenya yangu.
Odinga was polygamous and had 4 wives: Mary Juma, Gaudensia Adea, Susan Agik and Betty Adongo. With these wives, he had 17 children. Mary is the mother of Raila Odinga and Oburu Odinga. Mary died in 1984.
When my mother died, for example, my family sent me a telegram to inform me that my mother had passed on. And they kept this telegram for a long, they never gave it to me. But of course, a friend of mine who was also detained had received the information. But then he had communicated, we had a way of underground communication. So I had known. Now when this Askari came to eventually now break the news to me, at first he was looking at my reaction, if I would be shocked, because otherwise we'd know that somebody had told me. So when he came to tell me, I artificially burst into tears. But they were telling me 3 months later, yet they received the telegram immediately that my mother passed on.
In an era of unrelenting human rights abuse by the Kenyan government, Raila Odinga was placed under house arrest for 7 months after evidence seemed to implicate him along with his late father Oginga Odinga for collaborating with the plotters of a failed coup attempt against President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi in 1982. Hundreds of Kenyan civilians and thousands of rebel soldiers died in the coup. Several foreigners also lost their lives. Odinga was later charged with treason and detained without trial for 6 years.
When I was arrested, I was first charged with treason, meaning that it is a charge that carries a mandatory death sentence. So you walk here with a red C on your chest, wearing those prison captolas. In those days they didn't have trousers. I was basically on death row. I was on death row. That place, people were not allowed to come and see you. You are isolated from the rest of other remandees, and you are kept in the cells for 23 hours out of 24. You're only allowed out for half a quarter of an hour in the morning, again half an hour at lunch, and again a quarter of an hour again in the afternoon. So most of the times you are in the cells, and you're not receiving any visitors.
Tabu zangu shida zangu ziangalie Kenya yangu. Tabu zangu shida zangu ziangalie Kenya yangu. Ewe Kenya inji yangu, ewe Kenya baba yangu, ewe Kenya mama yangu, sitakuacha milele. Matajiri masikini yo, sisi zote binadamu.
A biography released 14 years later in the July of 2006, apparently with Odinga's approval, indicated that Odinga was far more involved in the attempted coup than he had previously admitted. After its publication, some members of parliament in Kenya called for Odinga to be arrested and charged, but the statute of limitations had already passed, and since the information was contained in the biography, did not amount to an open confession on his part. Among some of his most painful experiences was when his mother died in 1984, but the prison wardens took 2 months to inform him of her death. He was released on 6th February 1988, only to be rearrested in September 1988 for his pro-democracy and human rights agitation at a time when the country continued to descend deep into the throes of poor governance.
Akili zangu nguvu zangu nimeziweka mbele yako. Bibi yangu na watoto nimewaweka mbele yako.
His encounters with the authoritarian government generated an aura of intrigue about him, and it was probably due to this that his political followers christened him Agwambo, Luo for the mystery or unpredictable, or Jacom, meaning chairman. Odinga was released on 12th June in 1989, only to be incarcerated again on 5th July 1990, together with Kenneth Matiba and former Nairobi Mayor Charles Rubia, multi-party system and human rights crusaders. Odinga was finally released on 21st June in 1991, and in October, he fled the country to Norway amid indications that the increasingly corrupt Kenyan government was attempting to assassinate him without success. At the time of Odinga's departure to Norway, the Forum for the Restoration for Democracy (FORD), a movement formed to agitate for the return of multi-party democracy to Kenya, was newly formed. In February 1992, Odinga returned to join FORD, then led by his father Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. He was elected vice chairman of the General Purposes Committee of the party. In the months running up to the 1992 general election, FORD split into FORD Kenya, led by Odinga's father Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and FORD Asili, led by Kenneth Matiba. Odinga became FORD Kenya's deputy director of elections. Odinga won the Lang'ata constituency parliamentary seat, previously held by Philip Liki of Kanu. Odinga became the second father of multi-party democracy in Kenya after Kenneth Matiba. When Jaramogi Oginga Odinga died in January 1994 and Michael Wamalwa Kijana succeeded him as FORD Kenya chairman, Odinga challenged him for the party leadership. The elections were marred by controversy, after which Odinga resigned from FORD Kenya to join the National Development Party (NDP).
The neck is still there. we'll have another go at another election. Wafula Kijana is no longer chairman of Ford Kenya.
In his first bid for the presidency in the 1997 general election, Odinga finished third after President Moi, the incumbent, and Democratic Party candidate Mwai Kibaki, but he, however, retained his position as the Lang'ata Member of Parliament. In a surprise move, Odinga decided to support Moi, his arch-enemy, even entering into a political merger between his party NDP and Moi's much-hated KANU party, which many Kenyans likened to the yoke of oppression. The merger was called New KANU. Previous admirers of Odinga now saw him as a sellout to a cause he had once championed by closing ranks with the despot. He accepted a position in Moi's cabinet as energy minister, serving from June 2001 to 2002 during Moi's final term. In the subsequent KANU elections held later that year, he was elected the party's Secretary General, replacing Joseph Kamoso. It was apparent to many that Odinga hoped to ascend to the presidency through KANU and with Moi's support. In 2002, much to the chagrin of Odinga and many other hopefuls in the party, Moi endorsed the young Uhuru Kenyatta, son of Kenya's first President Jomo Kenyatta, but a relative newcomer in politics, to be his successor. Moi publicly asked Odinga and others to support Uhuru as well.
Na huyu ni Uhuru
Kenya we ni mama yangu, wacha wao waporomoke, wacha wao waporomoke. Viongozi wetu tuombeni, viongozi wetu tuombeni, wacha wao waporomoke, wacha wao waporomoke, wananchi.
This was taken as an affront by many of the party loyalists who felt they were being asked to make way for a newcomer who, unlike them, had done little to build the party. Odinga and other KANU members, including Kalonzo Musyoka, George Saitoti and Joseph Kamoso, opposed this step, arguing that the then 38-year-old Uhuru Kenyatta was politically inexperienced and lacked the leadership qualities needed to govern. Moi stood his ground, maintaining that the country's leadership needed to pass to the younger generation. Dissent ran through the party, with some members openly disagreeing with Moi, despite his reputation as an autocrat. It was then that the Rainbow Movement was founded, comprising disgruntled KANU members who exited KANU. The exodus led by Odinga saw most big names fleeing the party.
na Sarkozy akafanya nini? Odinga akafanya nini? Osundu yako ngoja, Osundu akawatoka, sio? Karauri vile vile alitoka mapema, aliona kama hatari inakuja. Sasa sisi wenyewe hatukungoja. Jana mchana tulisema kwanza Mheshimiwa Mudi Awori, Mheshimiwa William Olentimama, Mheshimiwa Dr. Du Awiti, Mheshimiwa Orwa Ojode, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. Tulisema sisi hatungoji kupigwa kalama, sisi tunatoka, chukua kazi yako na uende naye.
Moi was left with his hand-picked successor, almost alone with the party reduced to an empty shell with poor electoral prospects. I take the journey on the history lane to explore the philosophy, ideology, leadership and the cost paid by great leaders of the Luo nation. Here is the journey of Mzee Oginga Odinga and his son Raila Odinga. My name is Bushebi Jr.
The press must be a champion of the social, political, and economic development of the people. It must thus seek to report on the efforts of the people to bring about these developments.
And now let's get our education segment.
This academic giant continues to soar high in the skies like an eagle, enrolling thousands of students and providing quality, affordable and accessible education in Western region and beyond, because we believe that education is the most powerful weapon that one can use to change the world. Indeed, it has been an exciting journey for St. Kizito Mayanja Secondary School, the most popular public institution for higher learning in Western region. In St. Kizito Mayanja Secondary School, found in Bumula Sub-County in Bungoma County, is the center for excellence in equipping students with skills and knowledge in academics. Under the leadership of Mr. Mabonga Kongani, the school has posted excellence grades in KCSE exams since he took the mandate as the school principal. According to Mr. Mabonga, the school has good learning environment which has contributed to the good performance.
As a school, we must be able to say that we are doing well. First of all, we're a sub-county school, that's okay. But I want to be proud about the performance of this school despite it being a sub-county school. I want to say that so far we have been able to make quite a number of achievements in terms of performance. I came here in 2016, and I took over from retiring principal, Mr. Ikala, who retired in 2016. And from the time I came here in 2016, we have seen improvement in performance. We have been able to see improvement in performance. 2016, I was able to, in 2016, we were able to have 20 students going to university, and our main score was 3.918. In 2017, our performance went down a little bit. And only 13 students were able to make it to university. I want to believe that we are trying to get our bearing. Then in 2018, we made some improved performance where we had 226 candidates, and 30 of these students were able to make it to university with a mean score of 3.988, which was a mean grade of C-. 2019, we had 50 students making it direct to university, 2019, from an enrollment of 225 candidates. Then last year, that is 2020, We broke a record. 2020, we had 204 candidates, and out of 204 candidates, 59 of them made it direct to university with a mean index of 5.632, which translated into a C. I want to say that this was one of the best performances, and we came out to be the second best school in Bungoma sub-county. The best school was Mount Carmel, which is a private school. So in terms of the public schools, we were actually the best school in Bungoma sub-county. When you look at the county ranking, we were number 23. Number 23 in the county out of almost 400 schools. So I must be able to say that this achievement here is not a mean one. And the reasons why we are doing what we are doing is because of the school motto. The school motto is very clear: Hima Daima, Hima Daima. And we encourage our students to always work hard on a daily basis, working hard on a daily basis, being industrious every time in whatever that they are undertaking when they are here in school. And I think that has been our driving factor in ensuring that when whatever that you engage in when you are a student, you must be able to work hard.
The school has an active Scout Club members which play an important role in the school, such as offering first aid service, environmental conservation, among other services.
Okay. Kwa majina naitwa Prudence Afisa. Mimi ni mwalimu wa St. Kizito Mayanja na ni matron wa Scouts since 2017. So we are a team of 60, but right here we have 10 of them. Kuna Scouts, wasichana na wavulana. So they are 30. So scouting ni kubwa, kuna land, kuna wamaji pia. So wamaji huvaa white, wa land venye umeona wanavaa hii. These are secondary schools. Then we also have the Sungura, the Chipkizi, but now this group is Mwamba, ni ya secondary schools. Ya scouting pia, lengo kuu la scouting kwa shule ni kwamba one, instill discipline in students, because hao ndo good example kwa wanafunzi wetu, kwa sababu wanahimiza wanafunzi kuwa discipline, kuangalia na mkubwa wetu Baden Powell. Number 2, pia wanahimiza enhance cleanliness in the school compound. Kama kuna tatizo lolote la usafi yote, hao ndo wako in charge. Number 3, pia unaona kwa shule yetu kama hii hatuna kama mtu kama nurse, unaona. Sasa hao wako hapo hivyo kutusaidia, kwa sababu kuna wakati mwingine tunahitaji first aiders. Kwa hii timu yangu tuko na first aiders, so in case maybe kuna emergency yote kwa shule, hao ndo utakuja wahudumia wanafunzi kwanza, ndo tujue what next.
Apart from scouting, Mayanja Secondary School also participate in co-curriculum activities such as soccer, athletics, handball, music and netball. However, the games teacher has called on the national government to uplift the restriction imposed on inter-school sports activities by the Ministry of Health, so as the students may get time to showcase their talents.
My name is Sikwata Gamaliel. I am the HOD Games in St. Kizito Secondary School. I must say that the sports department and indeed sports in Bumula sub-county as a whole is doing well. St. Kizito in Bumula sub-county is one of the sporting giants. We are known especially for footballing prowess, where in 2013 we represented Bumula sub-county at the county finals. We have since then been perennial fixtures at the sub-county finals, and twice we have reached the sub-county finals, recently in 2018 in soccer. We also have an upcoming soccer girls team which is doing well. Until we went for Corona break, we had already qualified for the sub-county finals. Athletics is another area we are doing very well, and since I came to this school in 2010, we have perennially taken students, more than 4 students, to the nationals. And at one time in 2018, we had a student called Lydia Masinde, who went all the way to the East African community competitions. I must also say that because athletics is an individual game or sport, the spotlight has not been on it so much, but we are doing well as a school in that area. Handball is another field in which we present 2 teams, both girls and boys. Just before Corona break, again, our team, handball girls, had also qualified for sub-county. They were sub-county champions, and they were to take part in the regional competitions that were to be held in Kamsinga. Unfortunately, because of Corona, it didn't happen. Indoors games, here we offered table tennis, and our doubles team is the reigning county champions, because our double teams was able to become #1 at Kibabi during the county competitions. Choir is another area which I consider very key to our sporting department. Twice we have taken teams to the nationals in oral narratives and in own compositions. So in general, I must say that St. Kizito is doing well sport-wise. We all know the importance of sports when it comes to learners discipline. It's very important that education and play go hand in hand. After all work without any play make dull a dull boy. So we are appealing to the government to finalize the arrangements as far as sports are concerned, so that as soon as possible we begin having games. All these issues you are seeing around because of learner indiscipline in schools is because these guys are very idle, and sports help in management of discipline and in helping these boys redirect their energies to useful areas. We are losing a lot of talents. I can assure you that I have very talented boys in Form 1 and 2 who have not had a chance to represent this school at higher levels. So as soon as this is finalized, I'm hoping that we shall have sports back on, so that we can have our students develop their talents. You can imagine someone who is leaving Form 4 and has not played for this school for 2 years. Where is that talent going? So I'm appealing that the whole thing about sports and games is finalized, so that we are back on track. Thank you so much. St. Kizito is an upcoming giant. If you have a talented boy or girl, please, this is the place to be. Thank you.
Due to high discipline level, the school management has promised good performance in the coming KCSE exams.
My name is Peter Kisabuli, the Deputy Principal, St. Kizito Manager Secondary School. Basically, in a school situation, the deputy is a teacher, and is also in charge of discipline of both the students, teacher, and learners. St. Kizito is known for good performance, and as the adage goes, discipline precedes success, and our strength has been on discipline. Our students or members of this community in general usually put a lot of value on discipline, because they know what it means for the success of the school. and therefore we collaborate, both students, teachers, and even workers, in ensuring that each and every person in this community does what is required of him at whatever time. And that ensures that programs run well. Like in this school, our programs start at 6:45 and they end at 6 in the evening. And therefore, that long span of time requires a lot of self-discipline on the part of the parties. And therefore, all of us appreciate that fact that we have to be self-disciplined, and that's why we are doing well at the moment. Now, we usually take various measures, disciplinary measures, in the event the learners or workers are indisciplined. And our point of reference in handling discipline cases is our school rules. Each member of this school community has a copy of the school rules, and therefore their conduct is restricted within those school rules. And in the event one of them goes against the school rules, we usually take the measure that is indicated in the school rules. Like here, if a student uses maybe a language that is not official, if he or she uses mother tongue, usually we ask that individual to spare time and stay in the library so that he or she has time with the books to improve on the English. Students who maybe indulge in illicit activities, we usually call in their parents, so that as a family we talk to them so that each party knows. And you know, students will always take advantage of their parents. If the parents are ignorant of what they are doing, then even if you take any measure in the absence of their parents, they will not change. And therefore, it's usually collective. We involve the parents in discipline of their children. Even if maybe at times the case is handled in school, we usually inform the parents. Either we can call them here, or we can request them to come over to school, or at times we talk to them on phone, because we have phone numbers of.
The school principal has appreciated the stakeholders for the health cooperation in pushing the school forward in academics and development.
Shining. So all stakeholders, we cannot be able to leave out even the county government of Bungoma, because they have also been supporting us in terms of bursary. Those ones are also very important stakeholders through our MCA and the governor of this particular county. We want to appreciate, because the numbers that are also getting bursary, as I've already told you, a sizable number of our students here come from very poor backgrounds. They come from poor backgrounds. And whenever we get these bursaries from the county government of Bungoma, it goes a long way in ensuring that students actually are kept within the school. Apart from that, the national, the CDF, Bumula constituency, has also been very supportive on the side of bursaries. We have also been getting bursaries through Bumula constituency, and at this particular level, again, I want to appreciate our Member of Parliament for the support that is given to our students. Remember, Bumula does its own things, does things in a very different way. In other places, the constituency, the CDF does not give money to the scholars, but our Member of Parliament, being who he is, he also felt like that the scholars also deserve to get some money so that they can be in school. In this school, the fees is very low, but you find that even 5,000 is very expensive to a parent in a year. It's very, very expensive to a parent in a year. But I think through their struggles, we are able to reach where we are. So Maisha Secondary School is a very, very, very nice place, a very nice place, and I want to encourage most of our parents. When you look at the environment within the school, is very nice, very, very good ones. The students have entered here. The environment is welcoming, and the environment is actually a place where students can be able to study and get what they want.
Well, and moving on still on feature mode, let's have a look at our feature, My Hustle, My Life, My Story.
I I took a walk on Maisha television hustle section along the Moi Avenue off Namachanja Road in Bungoma town, Bungoma County, that leads me in a beautiful hustle talk with one Mr. Saidi Juma Wafula, who owns and manages Saidi Cyber and Printers since 2019, as his name suggests.
Mimi naitwa Saidi Wafula. Mimi ndio the owner of Saidi Cyber and Printers Bungoma. Tuko located hapo opposite Kenya Revenue Authority offices, Moi Avenue off Namachanja Road.
Capital yako ya kwanza kuanzisha hii biashara yako ulianza vipi?
Capital yangu ya kwanza ilikuwa pesa tu kidogo. Nilikuwa nimefanya kazi mahali na nikaanza kidogo tu, nikanunua kompyuta moja na printer moja, nikaanzia hapo.
Angalia hapo kwako, my friend, I salute you.
Asante.
Yeah.
Hii biashara ni kuwa tu patient. Nilianza March 2019. Hapo ndio nilianza na pesa kidogo nilikuwa nayo, nikafungua, lakini vitu nimenunua pole.
He adds that his passion and commitment for the job has greatly helped him invest a lot and still hopes to open more cyber and printing business to create employment for other youth in the county. Kazi yako hapa, manake naona mashini iko pale, ingine iko pale, labda utubrief ama utuelezee tu kiasi tu kwa ufupi hii mashini inafanya kazi gani hapa, labda kuna yule hapo kule nje hajui cyber ni nini.
Basically sifanyi services za cyber peke yake, bado nafanya printing. Ukiangalia mashini kama hii inafanya printing za bulk kama exams, receipt books hivyo. Ukiangalia mashini kama hii inatoa quality printing. Hii na hii inafanya printing za kama calendars, kama posters, unaona, and also I do bulky printing. So nimemove from cyber kidogo, bado nafanya services za cyber but na deal na printing sana.
Juma urged both the national and county government to come in and support the youth. Saidi Juma says since the COVID-19 struck the world, to him it was advantageous as everything was done online.
The good advantage was wakati wa corona walisema kila kitu iko online. So nilikuwa na kazi kuliko venye hata saa hii sina kazi.
So ulikula vizuri?
Kula vizuri kabisa. I was making money because everything was online. Na kila mtu alikuwa anapata.
Juma urged both the national and county government to come in and support the youth.
Nipata kazi is another liability because unachukua rent.
Yes, no.
Ulipe rent. Ulipe bills zako.
Saidi Juma, naona ni kazi yako kiona, yani yaelea. Jua na ushaunda ama sivyo?
Yeah.
Asante sana. For Maisha Prime News, Maisha Television, I'm Jennifer Okonga.
Well, today on our 5/5 segment, let's talk about how COVID-19 has impacted the high cases of pregnancies among girls. More than 13,000 girls aged between 10 to 18 in Narok got pregnant in 2021, according to the County Health Department. The data, which was compiled between January and November last year, represents 27% of the total pregnancies recorded nationally last year. According to County Health Reproductive Coordinator Chesang Toroitich, the numbers were recorded from the first antenatal clinic visits. He reported that among the pregnant teenage girls, 1,203 were aged between 10 and 14 years, while 12,390 were between 16 and 19 years old. Others are Transmara West, Narok West, Narok East, and Transmara East, which had 2,380, 2,164, 1,750, and 1,500 pregnant girls respectively. Among the teenage mothers, Toroitich said 1,170 were reported to have suffered complications relating to birth and were treated in the various health centers in the county. The health official attributed the high number of underage pregnancies to the COVID-19 pandemic that led to closure of schools in 2020. At the same time, 19,560 young adults between the age of 20 and 24 were reported pregnant in the year 2021. There is also concerns about the increasing number of girls who suffer complications because of carrying out abortions. The numbers of teen pregnancies and also abortions are alarming. Parents and guardians spend quality time with your teenage daughters and guide them to become responsible adults. Also, don't forget the boy child because they are part of this mess. Let's educate our girls and save their future. That was our Prime 5 out of 5 with me, Rida Karim Tibet. Thank you for choosing to be with Maisha Prime News since the start, from the editorial board that brings you the authoritative and now the most watched bulletin that airs Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and 9 a.m. and on weekends, that is Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. We say thank you. That marks the end of the comprehensive and incisive bulletin by Maisha Prime News. Enjoy the rest of the broadcast.